Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, September 27th, 2021, Monday. Another conference or talk with you regarding quality, safety, health, environment, and issue of COVID-19 in that relation. Title of talk being, as usual, engineering. Civil field engineering, which I call engineering, or actually I call it life engineering, total engineering, and life. Quality AnnexSL, which we are going to discuss in details about construction or contracting. Then COVID-19, safety, health, environment, engineers' role towards all these, designs, construction, methods, contracts, organizations, and communication. All these are related along with coordination and why be behind quality of standard materials and standard all other equipment or whatever we get in market or whatever manufactured, etc., etc., etc. It depends on how long I get signals continuously. It's now 12.6 kbps video and 30.2 kbps audio. Let's hope something is better than nothing. Now, as usual, I try to show you competencies, and here is Chartered Engineer Certificate, and this is Corporate Membership Certificate of Institution of Engineers India, and this is International Professional Engineer Certificate issued by Institution of Engineers India based on International Professional Engineers Agreement, which was previously Engineers Mobility Forum. Just for your information it is. And then we have to discuss about quality system, quality approach, which is very important. I did not put the other one file, because quality systems we are discussing. And before going further, serious about this. Before going any further, I would like to start. Life is very important. It's very clear. Again, signals are 00, both video and audio. Just 2 minutes only, and all signals have gone. This is quality of Airtel. Now again it has come by 143.5 kbps, 1.4 mbps. So it varies tremendously, you can say. It seems that there is no system in Airtel transmissions. It varies from MBs to few, to say 154.4 kbps now, 761 kbps now. You can see what quality exists there. Well, I will not comment on, my subject is not that. Just for your information, quality of systems or network is not to mark as it should be. What can I do and what can you do until service provider cares about this? They should care about this. I have written many mails to them. I can't count how many mails, and they just respond formal answers. Those formals, they have set answers and they respond them automatically, or otherwise computer answers. So life is very, you cannot say it can't be evaluated in terms of money, because life cannot be equated to money. Money is very small level if you compare to life's existence. And life is very important. And life means health, life means environment, life means mind, life means energy, and life means food, life means facilities. These are all very common, which everybody has interest in. But out of these, fundamentally you can say safety in processes, safety in applications, safety during work, safety during every act of life, and health of everybody is very important, significant in a sense that one should be healthy. But what's meaning of health? Question arises. It doesn't mean you should be a wrestler or you should be, you can say, fighter. Health means normal health. That can be defined as you should have sound mind, working all time, and you should have good health that can give you energy for your work, whatever work you do. And both body health and mind health can be combined together for purpose of work, for purpose of survival, and for purpose of all acts in life. We used to call in past, if money is lost, you remember what I'm saying, just listen. We used to call in past, maybe you remember now also, because life has changed, but people also have changed. They don't remember anything which was done in past. It was phrased as such: if money is lost, nothing is lost. If money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. Sorry, I think it's like that. No, no. We used to say, if money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. And if character is lost, everything is lost. It was equated as such: money equal to nothing, health equal to something, and character equal to everything. So character is everything, health is something you must have, and money is nothing. This is mathematical equation here in past, and that's why you can say people were used to be guided by this. But now time has changed, I think. Now money is everything. I should laugh on that. Money is everything and character is nothing, right? It is said that money is everything and character is nothing, and health is there as usual something, and I think it's more important than something. When it is more important than something and people care about health not by natural actions, they don't believe in naturality of body, but they believe in artificiality of body, because they don't want health to be built by natural environment, by natural mode, but by dieting. You can say dieting is one activity they conduct which is harmful to health. They conduct other one is that, go to gyms, gymnasiums, and they don't understand why to go there, and they don't want to do physical work in life. They want to avoid physical work. They want even to avoid benefit that natural agencies provide with everybody. For example, one agency is solar system or sun. They want to avoid it, particularly youth, young generation. They are not interested in solar energy for body. They may be interested for solar energy for electrical supply. Means only for application and not for body. Body is not application. Body's requirements must be met. They are not interested in sun energy for body. They are not interested in physical exercises like walking in sun or walking long distances and disposing out your sweating. And of course, they are not interested in doing any agricultural activity, which is very good example, which is very good, you can say, mode for building health. And also they are not interested in doing any hard work. They are only interested in doing computer-based works, or where they have to sit in AC room. Most of them, I can say, those are educated, those are illiterate, exactly. And those, of course, they are not educated. They'll do some work like, occupational jobs or vocational jobs, like hard work like physical, you can say, working in construction, working in factory, or doing some business on footpath, or I don't even consider shopkeepers as hard workers. But we should not forget that our requirement is more by those who work in field, who work hard. They are more supportive than those who do not do that. We cannot get more support from those who are well educated and who are computer oriented people. They are limited supportive, but in long run they may not be supportive. Ultimately, life is dependent on production, on manufacturing, on industry, and you can say only these sectors like construction we get employment. We lead on developing path. We lead on advancement, and not on just computer society. If we make only computer as our society, computer people as society, then you can say that it's not going to work. I'm not going to criticize or do something like that, but I'm inclined to talk about safety, health and environment as well as quality. When I talk of quality, this means first of all we have to think about our own quality, everybody's quality. As I said, character is lost, everything lost. Now we have to understand first of all what is character. We have to understand what is health, and we have to understand what is money. Everybody will say, why do you want to explain all this? Yes, that's the right question. Why should I explain? It should be explained because you have not known it, or you have not been taught it, or you do not care for this. Money everybody understands. By whatever means you earn it, you think it's right. By crooked work you earn it, or by number two you earn it, or you rob someone, or you cheat someone. It is done. Or you do hard work. They call it smart work, and I don't understand what smart work, believe me, because work is work. Where mind is used and also body is used, hard work is done. And where you say only you dupe others, ditch others, you may say it is smart work. So there is definition. Everybody has clear understanding, clear definition. One defines one item in one way, other defines other term in other way. That's up to one. I can't clash with that. But as far as, because I am concerned with something which relates to life, and that is safety, health, environment, which is directly related to everybody's life. Everybody should be healthy, everybody should be safe, and everybody should enjoy pleasing environment, good environment, an environment that is having minimum requirements fulfilled. And now COVID-19, I try to bring it always, because this is not only part of health, just health, no, this is not related to just health, this is related to survival as well. And this is such a disease, when one infects with it, one contracts this can lead to no solutions at all. Yes, you can say isolation or quarantine can help to control it to some extent, but not permanently, because COVID-19 is converted automatically to long COVID-19, and that long COVID-19 is very dangerous. Those people who lose in their life, they get rid of this body. We can say those have left because of corona, they have left for their heavenly abode. Millions of people, millions of persons from around the world, maybe crores. The picture is not clear. Okay, it's clear or it's not clear, that's another issue. But they have left, that's true, from all over the world. And they have got rid of this. But those who have not gone, still you can say hardly 2%, 1 to 2% people have gone only, out of those who are infected. And those who are still there, they are sufferers actually, I can say. They are real sufferers, because this virus is still unknown completely. Nobody knows about this. And when it enters body, to some extent you can control it, but not full control, you can say. It can't be eliminated from body, and it works there, and we do not know what it's doing. Scientists do not know, and all others who are required to know, those professionals, those intellectuals do not know how it works, what's its procedure, and claims are made every day, which I think this is only for publicity's sake, for I understand. Every day conflicting statements appear in papers or somewhere else. I think more stress is being given to inoculation, vaccinations, and maybe to some extent it's applicable, it's good, but I think now it's being converted to commercialization. They want everybody should be vaccinated, despite we do not know what does it mean, how it works. Well, they say something for commerce sake, that's their outlook. But what I'm saying is different statement. I'm not concerned with vaccination issue. What my concern is, why not to get rid of COVID-19 infection? That's important. Why to allow this entity to infect into someone's body? And for that, again and again I say, and everybody says, not myself alone, I'm not expert of that, I'm just making a general statement, that it's always well known that it's better to take precautionary measures. It's better to resort to loss prevention rather than, you can say, curing losses, curing problems. Just like you say fire is broken out and you have to suppress it. Otherwise, you have to think of, in case fire breaks out, what measures we should take before that breaks out. And that's called loss preventive measures. Loss preventive measures is intellectual business, intellectual term. If we can prevent losses before this happen, that is called intellectualism, that's called mind thinking, and that's called, you can say, risk assessment, risk assessments, risk control. But if we allow, because we do not care for loss prevention, we allow fire breakout, certainly we have to go for fire suppression, fire extinguishing, and that's very expensive because it takes time, first of all, to start fire extinguishing or fire suppression, and then it takes time, and within that time you can get lots of losses of property, losses of lives. This everybody knows, no need to explain much on this. Same way, if COVID-19 can be prevented, I know that you cannot fight with it. We cannot fight with COVID-19. We can only restrict ourselves, because we do not know who this entity is. If we do not know some entity, with whom we shall fight? It's only a misexplanation. It's abuse of term that we can fight with it. No one is that much capable at this day, on this day, that at this time, on this day, we can fight with this. We cannot fight with imagination. We cannot fight with someone we do not know. We do not know ABCD of COVID-19. How can we fight then? So we can fight with ourselves. That we don't allow it to infect my body or your body. And that's an only way. And for this, we are not to cost a lot, just to protect our nostrils, nose and mouth and eyes, and that's it. Well, I think this is not a big deal. Unnecessary hues and cries have been made all over the world. Lockdown and this down and this up. I think it was only nervousness of people around the world this happened. And it's also true that COVID-19 is not leaving today or tomorrow, because it has to work. It has its own responsibility, and people have their own responsibility to protect themselves. COVID-19 is bound to infect as many people as possible, while we have a responsibility to respond to that, and that is that we protect ourselves, and there is no other way out. And if we can't do that, well, I think then we are in wrong boat. We should understand facts of life. If we understand facts of life, well, I think we can solve many problems. Many problems we can solve, and that's where, that's where it applies, that's where it works. And if we can't do, then I'll close this certificates now. And I it's very important, and this is what I talked about: safety, health, and environment. If we can keep ourselves to quality issues, and again singles are 0, 0. If we keep ourselves to quality issues of life, I mean, you should not consider that quality is only meant for materials or for machines or for, you can say, whatever product. Quality is applicable everywhere. It starts from our home, it starts from our body, it starts from our working. Means quality starts from unit of individuality. You can say there are 8 billion individuals in world. This means there should be 8 billion qualities. If you consider one quality for everybody, and that definition for everybody is different. For one, crime is good, that person does crime, and that person thinks of how to do best crime so that I'm not located, I'm not held. Other person thinks of good work, and that person thinks of how best I can do. And both are quality systems, and both are different. One is for destruction, other one is for development. That's the only difference. A person has to understand life first. Life we have to live until we have respiration, until we have breathing. And it's better if you live safe, if you live with good health, we enjoy good health and good environment. Environment now is very difficult to enjoy. Only you can, your surroundings, if you consider as environment, your surroundings, in which room you are living or what you do, you walk, whatever you do, means if you find as much as pollution free, it's better. But another environment is mental environment. I'm not talking of physical environment here. Means how set is your mind? How best is mindset? That is important, significant. If mind is upset, it's very difficult to concentrate on any issue. If mind is upset, and how to keep mind set, that's also health issue. And you should be free mind, means you should not have any undue stress in your mind or strain in your mind that can jeopardize your thinking or my thinking or my plan. Plan means to do something, how to think about that, what to think about that, means whatever work we do, it may be official work or it may be home work or it may be your personal work. Every work should have quality, and sometimes we do not understand. We say do as good as possible. Actually that is quality. Do as good as possible, as better as possible. Improve on this, they say. Yes, you improve on that. Improvement is a must. It's improvement because we know something by actions and then we go, oh, it should be much more better. We apply some correction on this and we say amendment on this and you can modify this and we can say, okay, we have reached a better stage, or we can go to worst stages also. Both are there. It's a lesson actually. If you go to worst stage, again you have to come back to previous stage, and you go to a better stage, then you have to adopt that. And that's what is called, a kind of quality improvement, a kind of defects correction, a kind of practical remedial actions. These are terms used in engineering, on projects, on activities, but these are also applicable in life, but at that time nobody can understand. They don't know what are terms. It's okay, it's better than before. Okay, fine, it's better than before. So you can say it's better than before, or you can say worse than it is. Now it's worse, we have reached worse stage, so we can reject that and come on to upward. So quality employment is here. Employment, not job, quality use, you can say. Life is full of quality system if you apply. It's not engineering alone, it's life. Life is, ever ending. It's such a system in which you have work, you have sleeping, you have mental use, you have your general life, general actions. All these count to life. And how best we can keep it sincerely and faithful to ourselves, sincere to ourselves, individuality. Individuality should tell you, and you should learn from individuality about, lessons. Nobody can teach you because life of everyone is different, conception of everybody is different, thoughts are different, mentality is different. Accordingly, you can say, somebody says, no, this is good for me, others say, no, this is not good for me. So there's a variation from person to person. But again I say, individuality is first consideration in quality system and health system. If I am good, I am strong, I am resistant to bad acts, I can say I have good health, I don't have requirement of medicines, I don't have requirement for, my mind is strong, it's sound, I can think at least for my work, how to do it, what's my way. You can say it's good health, and otherwise quality means what merit is there and what demerit is there, both. You have to, in every action what are merits and what are demerits. You think on them, consider them, because you work every time. You don't do anything new, you repeat same life's pattern again and again. And you learn also something new, and when you learn something new, then you can try on that what is good action, what is bad action, how to do it better, and how to improve it. Quality is that. Means you do plan something, we say you plan something, and then after planning you do something. If you plan so you have charted out some plan based on some foundations, you can say, based on some resources, based on some requirement. And then you act on this, you can say, you do that, you implement that. And after that, maybe you are not sure what did you implement or whether what you thought was right or it was not right. Then you will know the result. You will know result on that. Means I did it. I first of all planned it, then I did it, and now I know these are results. And you have to see that these results, means what sort of results are these? Are these meeting your requirement, what you planned for or intended for? And if these are not doing, then you have to think again and improve it, and improve it. And that's why plan to check and improve, we call it. After checking, you improve it until you get what was your plan of destination, what was your route to destination. And you can call it destiny, you can call it final, or final subject to further improvement. So quality works like that. And now question is, what's the role of engineers in that? What's the role of non-engineers in that? What's the role of individual with that system that we create or we join? I always say quality is something that everybody has different definitions. And again we say that quality requirement, quality required everywhere. Everywhere means everywhere. Even we can say I got quality sleep. You may say I got sound sleep. Sound sleep means quality sleep. You got even say for a couple of hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, you have rest. You said I slept for 4 hours or 5 hours, but with quality with sound sleep. So you are a fortunate person that during sleep you are not disturbed, you are not impacted, and you got sleep. So quality required everywhere and in every activity in life, and in engineering particularly. We can say life is engineering based. You cannot live in this time, in this age, that I don't need engineering, I want to live safe. It's not going to work. Because wherever you live, you have some shelter. And if you don't have shelter, you live in open to sky. But there is some ground, some road, some structure, or somewhere. And it has been engineered, it was engineered by some methods or someone, engineering or non-engineering. Wherever you live, you know, a new baby is born in some hospital or at home, that's also engineered structure. Home is constructed building, hospital is constructed building. There is no place in life where development doesn't apply. Even you walk on footpath, you walk on road, you drive on road, engineering is related. So you can say engineering is super life like medical. Medical is number one requirement. You can say it's first profession in world, without which we cannot say we can survive. Whatever sort of medical it is, allopathy, Ayurvedic, homeopathy, or whatever else, whatever you believe in, that is your first support in life for survival. Medical is number one because it is related to treatment of health, treatment of bad health. It brings back bad health to good health. So you can say this is unavoidable, this is indispensable, you have to use it. So we should respect medical profession at number one, which helps us to survive. And after once we survive good health, then we need development, we need something else, and that's called development, that's called economy, that's called development of construction, or you can say structures or infrastructures, and you can say development of hospitals, development of schools, development of education system, development of, you can say, whatever else you can say. In Hindi, we call quality as gunavatta. Gun means merit. What is level of merit in this system? Whatever work you do, what's level of merit you are applying on that work? And that is essential. And what surety it is, what security it is. So quality is that. Means you have to define your system yourself, or you have to establish a system yourself, or someone else has already got one system and you join that system to work for that system or that person or individual or owner. Everywhere, after all, either you follow some system or you make your own system, it is same issue. So system making can be part of designs. You can say you have to design that system, or you have to design. Doesn't mean structural design I'm talking general designs. We have to design something every time. Or you can say we have to organize something based on designs, or we have to organize design itself. Means we have to think on that, what do we need, what's the way, what are methods, and we have to construct that design. It's not construction, it's construction of designs. Just like we say construct, you can say some drawing, people say make some drawing, we can say in simple language, but that is also construction of isometric for you. For engineering, let's construct an isometric, draw plan and elevation of this wave. And then what method we adopt, communication, how do we agree with others, and it's kind of, you can say, contracts also come sometimes into that, when we have to, you can say, deal with people. And of course communication is very important in that, and coordination too. Coordination means no work is single activity based. Many activities come together from many disciplines and they meet one point which is called focus or destination, or you can say target. And we have to meet there at one time, and even if one activity is missed, that picture cannot be clear, that work cannot be done, it's held up. So all activities should act simultaneously, and that is a procedure of coordination. It should act simultaneously at required moment, at required time, and we can say we have done it. So that's called, it's coordinated attempt, it's coordinated work. It's a product based on that coordination method, or this procedure. We define that procedure from sequence to sequence to sequence to sequence, and all sequences must work together, only then we can say. Just like my body works, it functions properly. If one part of body doesn't function, it's a problem, health problem. There may be many organs in body, and whole system works like a plant, like facilities. A big plant body is, the size is small, but system is very big. We cannot understand that system, but it works, and it works without fail. Our plants may work for 30 years, 40 years, but body works. We can shut down our plants also for purpose of maintenance, but we cannot shut down this body. See, there's a difference. This is manufactured by God. Everybody is manufactured by God. I am a manufactured product, you may say. Just to understand, it's not manufactured in fact. It's natural, and nobody knows how it is done, but let's just for giving a name that God's manufacturing world, and everybody is a part of that. But we have to understand, system God produces is top quality. We can shut down plants, we can shut down anything, whatever, but we can't shut down our body. It continues working. Your breath never stops, your heart never stops, your mind never stops. Yes, you can stop walking, you can stop working, you can take rest because you want that, but body still continues. So there is a difference. Body is non-stop, mind is non-stop, but we stop because we want to isolate or quarantine for some time, say 4 or 5 hours for purpose of resting or for purpose of something else, whatever you can say. But you still work, your soul still works, your mind still works. And that's what I say. We have to define everything. How should it be done? And that definition, to what extent we define, what provisions we make within that definition, explanatory provisions or brief provisions, whatever, conditions we take, requirements we take, that we shall work within these restrictions, within qualifications, you can say reservations, and that can be called in combination to each other quality, as we are speaking about quality, and is essential in every work. If you don't care for that, no problem, it will not care for you. And that's what I say. It may be industry, it may be production, it may be construction. Everywhere health is required. SHE, safety, health and environment are required everywhere during whatever process of manufacturing or in construction, and also during use of products. Whereas it's called, we say some terms we use for every item, Shakti Upyog, and also we can say we have to support it with some system, we can say another system. You may say executive system or implementation system, it is not original system, and we call it ergonomics, Shakti Upyog, how to use your energies, and that's very important part. Ergonomics, its term is ergonomics, this is a science, and I analyze it differently. I consider it as energy unit, that's erg. Ergonomics means that energy which you got in, how to use it best for best results. That is economics, you can say. Economics of energy use is a science that tells everyone about how to use available energies for doing work activities in best possible manner so that worker is least impacted upon by adverse actions or adverse work, you can say work application. These requirements are certainly must, no way to respond no. That is a brief definition and it can be explained in different ways all time. And we can say everybody has to ask itself. Everybody has to ask. I can ask myself, you can ask yourself. And of course there is no way out, and without good quality compliance, applications plus, you can say applications plus good safety, health and environment, compliance applications, nothing can move in the right direction. That is what I say. Most important point here is nothing can move in right direction if quality and good health, good safety is not complied with. You cannot get anything, and that's where point lies in, and we should be serious about that. I already talked about safety, health. Now I'm just trying to refresh that these both are very important issues. Safety, health, environment is very first consideration on every activity and on every project and on every operation, supported by ergonomics. And we can say safety first, and we say also quality must. In Hindi, just for reference I am saying, सुरक्षा है तो दर्द नहीं, और सुरक्षा नहीं है तो दर्द ही दर्द. और मैं कह सकता हूँ क्वालिटी है तो सब कुछ सही, क्वालिटी नहीं तो सब बेकार. If quality exists, everything is fine, and if quality is absent, everything is unfine. And that's what I think. Another way of analysis, गुणवत्ता की आवश्यकता हर कार्य में. That's what it says. Quality has to be complied with defined requirements. It has to be complied with defined requirements within ambit of work specifications. Quality ranges in elaborations, in details, and it cannot be just one statement, one line statement, and that depends on, you can say, depending on indicative descriptions, what descriptions we have defined, indicated for that work. And there exists no unlimited scope of quality. You cannot say unlimited scope, there is a limit. There is a limited criteria for quality which we have to do for particular act. And if it doesn't include quality, you can say if no future is there, means no quality is there. If there is no quality, there is no future. You can say no future if no quality exists or persists, and its specified requirement must be met, and that is गुणवत्ता आवश्यक. गुणवत्ता आवश्यक. Quality is a must. Quality is a must. I can say with this final saying, quality is a must. गुणवत्ता आवश्यक. Engineers must realize quality facts. अभियंताओं को समझना होगा. Engineers must realize quality facts. That's most important. Engineers must realize, and in particular, civil engineers have to change their attitude. Quality aspects of society, or else quality cannot exist, means engineering cannot exist. And then we go to our daily routine, and again I come back to ISO 9001 contracting journal. We are discussing. I think we should go to our systematic class where I was, I don't remember. Let's go to, I was talking about, yes, in this take we're talking engineers personal, contractors personal, workforce we are talking. So we can stand here to talk, also very important. I continued, I stopped there to it was lengthy one, and we talked of systems, like we talked of titles of positions. I'm talking about contracting. I'm talking about something that is very important, and that is how project is done, how construction is done, what is your chart for that, what is your ground for that. Ground doesn't mean physical ground. Ground means basis. What is basis? Projects are done everywhere in the world. I'm talking of projects in which every project is, you know, every project imports many disciplines of engineering. And engineering means, no need of defining again. To do something is engineering. To plan something, think something, and to do that is called engineering. And I'm talking of construction. Construction means, in our language, in Hindi we call it nirman. Construction means there are so many structures. Structure means something that exists and that is durable for supporting others. That's called structure. We have some device that supports other items. That's called structure. We cannot just plaster something without any structure. We cannot provide finishes like tiling, like if there is no wall and if there is no slab. These can't be done. Structure is required for survival. Structure is not only in construction, everywhere. We have this structure, we have that structure, we say. What is it? We say, what's your organizational structure or hierarchy that we call it? We can also say, what is your organization structure? And what is your working structure? What is your system, in fact, you can call it. We generally call it system. In system is some specific, you can say, a kind of, you may say, permanence, permanence that can help you for long term. System cannot be just for actions. Actions are part in system, but not exclusive. But system is something we can say it's very wonderful, it's great wonderful. I can give you example of housing, example of buildings, example of flyover. You see, flyovers are built, houses are built, buildings are built, and so much is built. On what these are built? We provide foundations, we provide some columns, beams, or you can say whatever you can say, and on which loads are applied. And this system, that is structure, transfers those load to ground, and ground dissipates them through foundations. So this is a structure. On that structure we can apply any finishes, or we don't apply any finishes, it's up to us. But that structure, building itself, construction of that structure itself, construction in terms of designs, construction in terms of conception, construction in terms of physical shape, all these are done. Now this annex is for construction, contracting. It is construction as well as contracting. Because that contracting we are talking is Red Book from FIDIC. Based on that, I have charted out some AnnexSL requirements. AnnexSL, which is a kind of structure in itself, a kind of a structure of a form. It's a form which is having just 10 clauses from start to end of that contracting. And we are trying to understand what this means. Can we rely on this, or we have to do something else also? And this is not just one person's design. This is design of this formed by international institution. We call it ISO, International Standardization Organization, which is indicatively responsible for standards formation, and this is one of standards according to ISO 9001-2015, and prior to that it was 2008 system, which expired in 2015 and no more valid. And since September 2015 we have been using this form, and now it's 2021, about 5 to 6 years have elapsed. I don't know what success of this, but we're just trying to understand, we're trying to disseminate what do I think and what can you think about this. There are certain requirements in this, we have gone through them, and now I am here on this clause. I have already gone through previous clauses, and this clause is here, that is clause 3, terms and definitions, and which include detailed terms and definitions applicable to particular specific standard in addition to these points first, so that you can know what we are going to do. And these points are good. One practical one, you can say, it says authority, then it says statutes and laws, and of course contract with honor, you can say contract with honor, or FIDIC Red Book, or new engineering contract, NEC as case B, or national standard contract if you can say. It's not working. What's the reason for that? I don't know. It's not working. I don't know. What's going on? You may say contract with honor, or FIDIC Red Book, or new engineering contract as case B, or national standard contract if certainly applicable. Contract documents, owner's personal, engineer's personal, contractor's personal workforce, and of course you can say it is then daily progress report or status, memos to contractor, technical clarification, contractual clarification, subcontractors, nominated contractor, site instruction, engineer's instruction, request for inspection, general items, request for inspections, concrete pours, non-compliance report, material approval request, drawing approval request, subcontractors approval request, and then we can say temporary works, preparatory works, permanent works, construction method statements, standard working designs or details, quality management or organization statements including checklists and ITPs, Safety management documents including safety, induction, training, upkeep and surveillance, fire, prevention and understand what are these. As we said before, again we discuss about authorities, we discuss about statutes and laws, and we discuss about FIDIC and NEC. I also tried to show you in that FIDIC form, FIDIC, you can say real conditions, just try to expose to you. You know all those, but those who are not aware of this, it would work for them better. And also contract documents. We talked of owner's personal, we talked of engineer's personal, and we talked of contractor's personal. I think we were held up at engineer's personal. So just for refreshing, I would say contract documents, first of all, must be known to us, must be known to those who deal with contracts. It may be engineer, it may be contractor, it may be employer, or it may be, whosoever. Contract must be well understood. What is the structure of contract? And if we do not understand well, we can't do anything. We can't, means a state of confusion may exist, and that state of confusion must be avoided. In fact, to do something, every point, every activity, every document, every requirement should be clear. If it is not clear, then you have to stop somewhere. Where to go? I mean to say, contract can be executed, contract can be implemented only when those who deal with that contract, they know what they have to do and what are implications, what are aftermaths of doing, and what is work. And when work is done successfully, we can say that we have performed something. So we can say performance here. Performance, and word itself is per and form. We have to work on every form of that requirement, and that's performance. If one phase of that is not correct, this is called defective performance. And if all phases of that requirement work together to meet defined quality system, that can be said to be well performed, well done. So contract document is a package. It's not a small document. It's a voluminous package that contains so many documents. And one document is that on which both parties, we call employer and contractor. Employer is party 1 and contractor is party 2. These party agree on that form, on that real form which mentions amount to be paid or price to be paid for this work, and that is called contract. In fact, it is called contract form, where just you can say a statement is given agreed by both parties that we have agreed together under certain conditions that employer and contractor have to work like this. They have their responsibilities, and that we can call division of responsibilities. And main divisions are project is defined, scope is defined, everything is defined, data is defined, time period is defined, and every requirement is defined for liabilities of both parties, for responsibilities of both parties. And that contract says employer is owner of this project, employer is ready to pay to contractor this price when contractor completes this work and delivers this work. And this is called agreement, written agreement or written contract document number 1. This is, you can say, powerful document, powerful base for every project, and it is called number one priority. Then you go to what happened before that. Before that, because contract form cannot be executed immediately, it takes some time. So what happens? Maybe it takes 1 month sometimes, 15 days sometimes, or more. But work cannot wait. Work has to start. Project has to start. So what is done practically? A letter is issued to contractor that work has been awarded to you. This project, according to this bid, your offer is awarded to you for this price, and you have to start this work immediately. Your date of start is this one, or if you want to mention it, or maybe your date of start is this date of issue of this letter, and this we can say award letter, or you may call it, you can say letter that we have intention to give this project and it is given to you, and in this so many days, within a couple of days or whatever is given in FIDIC, we shall execute contract. And of course we can say this is engineer if it's to be defined, or whosoever else, you can start this date, you can start this job immediately, construction job, and this is duration of this job if it's possible to be given. Likewise, you can say you have reasonable time to start with for your mobilization, and means you can say a contract letter is issued, that's called award letter. And before that, you know what happens, a procedure of bid and its approval, its procedure for approval goes on. It takes maybe sometimes few months or few weeks, and since day when this bid was submitted by contractor and all bidders, and before that bid was worked out by contractor. So there are so many stages. From you can say bid itself is a long procedure. Bid or tender, you can call it, is a long procedure. Everybody requires time, and because project amounts to years, some projects amount to 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It depends on type of work and quantity and requirement, everything. If say it says for 3 years or 2 years, then what's value of 1 month or 2 months in bidding is justified. So this document, we say contract documents. This is document number 2. One was contract form, other one is award letter. And before that, so many correspondence is done from bid submission to bid approval. There may be so much, and all those are agreed as part of contract, or all notes are amalgamated into one document and those are destroyed, which are so many. It depends on both parties how they deal with that. If they want to keep it as part of documents and part of contract document. And then it comes, you can say, drawings, all drawings, whatever listed, all those drawings come, and following which come, and these drawings pertain to all disciplines involved on that project. So it's very important what we can say, and that's what is called. Then we go to specifications. I'm sorry, not specifications, that's also, but one I try to miss, that in contract document, as I said, contract forms and then letters, and then come conditions of contract. After, when you compile all these contract bidding forms, it's conditions of contract, and that is particular conditions comes first, and then comes general conditions, and after that specifications. I apologize for missing this. So particular conditions and general conditions have got some relations. General conditions means some people adopt FIDIC with some, I think it's up to them, not necessary. Red book some people adopt. FIDIC document, of course, subject to certain modifications, and those modifications appear in particular conditions. General conditions remain as such, and in particular conditions they can say this clause or this condition of general condition document we replace with this, and that's called particular conditions. It can be number of conditions, it can be non-condition, it can be same, it cannot be same, depends, and that becomes a part of contract document. So follow plus then general conditions, and then you can say drawings and designs, or feed, or you can also say then specifications. All the specifications, project specifications can be, and the national specifications can be, international can be, then codes and whatever else. Likewise, you can say, and then schedules also there, schedules of material, schedules of this, schedules of that, quantities, BOQ, bill of quantities. Like this, these are not very strong documents, bill of quantities, but guiding documents. You should remember that quantification is responsibility of a contractor. To an extent, a lump sum fixed price contract is concerned. If it's item-based contract, it's different. Means in item-based contract, there is no fixed price, but it's based on measurements or quantification, and quantity is also prescribed to some level. Means if we hold this contract for so much quantity approximately, and there can be allowed a variation of 5 to 10% only, or you can say measurement is done on site for every work done, and of course unit rate is agreed, and that agreement of rate is more important. But in lump sum fixed price, there is no such requirement. Price is fixed, documents are fixed, everything is fixed, and of course BOQ is required for some other reason, and that reason is that you can say, of course it's the project. Means there will be so many components, so many elements in projects, and we price for that, and engineer wants to do them because employer wants to do them all together. But because it's a question of finance, it's a question of budget, it's a question of future, sometimes more can be added, more building can be added, say one building can be added, or some other activity is added, some other element is added, or it can be deleted also. So we can say addition or omission or deletion also are kept in view. Now what are those deletion? How can we evaluate that one? Either you ask for rent quotation to be a part of this one, but generally what happens that while devising bid document, a rate list is fixed, rate list for human resources, rate list for materials, or you can say in BOQ itself items are included, and this BOQ which is meant for this project is based on quantification, but it is not binding on contractor or on engineer. This is only a guide, but it tells rates of quantities, rates of each unit, what is rate of this per unit, and that rate is important for purpose of omission or addition. So if there is some addition or omission, these rates can be used, and these are agreed in beginning. If up to this percentage of variation, we will use these rates for calculating, for valuing what cost we have to pay for additional work. And of course omission is no problem, because every component is identified, is given bill of quantity, every bill of quantity is separate. So whatever work has to go, it can go, and if there is only one bill of quantity for all areas, then rates can be used and worked out what amount is go. So lump sum fixed price is a different world, where it's so much complicated as well as so much easy, because work is done in beginning itself, prior to construction. All work is done on, and during construction percentage limits are fixed. If up to this level we go, we successful. In structure we shall pay you this much, and in finishes, if up to this level you do, we shall pay you this much according to requirements and specifications, requirements, contract details, and that's what is successful. Means pre-bid job is heavy, pre-bid job is voluminous, a lot of work is required pre-bid, and it takes couple of months to do that before designs are, designs first are done, then quantification is done, and then you can say all these documents are formulated. So pre-bid stage on lump sum contract, lump sum proposition is voluminous, time consuming, and we can say engineers personal work on that, owners personal work on that in constituting those contract documents. I could not explain last time, but now I'm trying to explain as much as possible because it's not book knowledge. I'm trying to give something which I learned in my field. Book is different. Book cannot give you that much. Practical aspect is very important. And fortunately, I could go to various tenders, various bid documents at international level, and I can understand what's value of these documents. It's not English language, it is context of that documents. We have to understand implications. It's not important for us to know English for that means to that level as English language is taught. I'm not very much serious about comma or full stop or mark of interrogation. How do we understand those documents? We have to see from that angle means how that context impacts on work. Means meaning is more important. You can say indication is more important rather than entering into undue analysis of language. We define this English as contractual English or language as contractual language, not academical language. Therefore, to understand contract documents, we must have different approach. Everyone, it may be owner or engineer or contractor, they should understand that. And they have personnel who are well experienced on these issues. Contractors, personnel, engineers, personnel, all know what is meaning of this, how to handle this. It's not, you can say, exclusive advocate work. It is inclusive work. Every engineer who is experienced in practical field knows meaning of contracts, meaning of, actually we don't read one by one word, when we read this we know, okay, this is condition, this is title of condition. Then we don't stop at each word, we just try to see what is meaning of that. And generally in every contract, on every contract, at national level or international level, with certain amendments, these are allowed. Because a stage comes when you say, okay, as far as cost is concerned, as far as actions are concerned, this document should work. And people sometimes don't even bother for these conditions. General conditions particularly, they know. And particular conditions, they bother from different viewpoint. For example, they bother about time, duration of contract. They bother about liquidated damages. And they bother about something which impact on them. Otherwise, specifications also bother when it's a question of, exclusive one. You have to procure that specification, and that's also very important. But for general specification, nobody bothers, okay, fine, nobody is going to check everything. It's okay, general, we know general, that's why it's general. Particular is more important, like particular conditions, like particular specifications, you can say, these are more important than something else. So we have to refer to personal here. This is contractor personal, means job of contractor is contractor personal has to do. Contracts doesn't go that. And job of there's a site manager or site organizer. There may be head office or corporate manager. And of course there are site people, those who work on site, they have to care about contract application, contract conditions, implication. And those who work on bid stage, they have to think what can be done, how can be done. Means both have different approaches. Just like engineers personal constitute, or they form, establish every document, every activity of document in drawings, etc. A contractor has to work accordingly. Means they have to understand implications of that and where can they be trapped. That's most important. Generally, it's also important how if there is suspension or there is termination, though it rarely happens, but can happen. They don't much bother about force majeure, and they don't bother about unexpected events, which is also called force majeure, and they don't bother about rain or environment, or certain items are considered in percentage terms. For example, expenses to be made on safety, expenses to be made of establishment, expenses to be made on promotion, or you can say refreshment to engineers personnel, which is of course formal and it is official. It's not like you consider bribe if you offer to engineer personnel tea or coffee. It's a part of contract itself, because contracts are generally, these projects are generally located in remote areas, not in developed areas. And in remote areas, there is no restaurant in desert, there is nothing as such, so you have to provide at least refreshment, and of course messing facilities provided. All these expenses are paid to contractor for giving these services as a part of project for project facilities. And that's why I say contractors personnel, like, they are persons who work on site, which is called site agent, as well as project leader and all others associated with that project leader. Those personnel, they are responsible for executing this contract and report to engineer as well as to owner. So relation is a triangle, you can say, and in this triangle, at one corner is in these three corners of triangle, three angles of triangle. At one is located owner, you can say apex of triangle if you consider base as bottom. Then there is one that is contractor. Relation between employer and contractor is contractual. That's binding relation of both. They are dependent on each other. Contractor is dependent on owner's support, and owner is dependent on contractor's efficiency for delivery of project. Goal of owner is to get good delivery, and contractor's goal is to deliver good work. Engineer is also on one corner, that is, but it is not dependent on any one of them. Engineer is an independent entity because it is to supervise this work contractually. It is to do this job contractually in every respect. And for engineer, contractor has different relation, that is working relation. Contractor must win trust of engineer and owner, and you can say engineer must trust contractor. Both have trust relations. We cannot say that both have to act like police and defendant. No. Engineer's job is to ensure that whatever work is done must be done according to contract requirements. Whatever requirement contractor makes, that contract demand, contractor is bound, responsible to do that. And this is to be made sure by engineer or its resident engineer or its clerk of work, or you can say engineer's representative. And contractor's duty is, because contractor is paid for that, contractor is responsible for accuracy of job, for reliance of what work it does. Even if engineer approves that, which engineer has to do it, or resident engineer, they have to approve it, everyone. It doesn't mean that contractor is relieved from that responsibility if engineer approves that. It's not necessary. It's only procedural approval. You can say, yes, we were there when this job was done. A kind of witness, you may say. It's not legal, it is procedural. And contractor is fully responsible. Reason being that payment is made to contractor. It's kind of shop, you can say. It's kind of factory. It's kind of a unit that I deliver to you this item for this payment. You can consider it that way. That at that time, contractor is a manufacturer. Contractor delivers on site itself, and for that payment is made to contractor, and that is usual procedure. And that payment is made through valuations or monthly bills, or what contract says, what system we have to follow. So contractor personnel are those who are responsible for every work done on contract. They are responsible safety wise, they are responsible quality wise, they are responsible quantity wise, and they are responsible in every respect because they buy that material on behalf of honor, and this is whatever they procure on site or they do on site is formally approved by engineer or its representative, and then work is called done. It is assumed that it is done according to requirements. And then we come to workforce. After all, what is that? Force it is. We may call it human resources as well. It's same, means human resources or workforce. After all, this is a potential a contractor provides and is demanded by contract itself, because contract demands all resources, timely delivery of resources, and those resources are human resources, equipment or machine resources, and you can say information resources. Whatever is required is done, and workforce is one of them. Workforce, force that is required to do work, each item and all items required to be done successfully in relevance to safety, in relevance to quality, in relevance to quantity, and in relevance to all requirements. That's workforce. It includes all. It's not simply worker on site or line worker. From top to bottom you can say, or sometimes also you can take inclusions from corporate world, corporate office. Everybody's workforce, engineer, non-engineer, they work to some extent according to job descriptions, and workers means field workers, to whom generally some call them labor, some call them coolie. I don't call labor because everywhere is labor. They are our colleagues. They should be given some regards, and that regard is due to them, because without that activity, without their inclusions, we can't work. That's also true. So workforce is you can say a kind of abstract, a kind of total people, all people working on site, irrespective of classification, from top to bottom. That is workforce, and this element is defined, is calculated. This is also included in technical submission which we make to honors. When we bid, two submissions are included according to practice. One is technical document or technical bid, other one is commercial document or commercial bid or price document you can say. So there are two phases: technical submission based on technical documents, which is very comprehensive, which includes all propositions what are technically required to do the job, and that technical submission is of paramount importance, very significant, because it indicates, it evidences, it speaks that what contractor is going to do. And if scrutinizers, that is engineer or employer, they are not satisfied with that offer, it's generally called offer, bid is an offer. If they are not happy with that, they are not satisfied, then can go to other one whose technical bid is more superior, more valuable, and whoever is found to be competent, most competent out of 3 or 4 shortlisted people, or you can say all, best one, who is best one, that technical bid can be considered. And that's where we say technical dominates commercial there, which is reality, which is fact, because just you cannot consider lowest price and say okay fine, I agree this. Lowest price can be wrong also. Lowest price doesn't mean everything is fine. Therefore, first requirement is that I satisfy myself as an engineer, or whoever is engineer on that job, that engineer must satisfy itself that this contracting party, this bidding party is having all potential to do job. They understand what they have to do. They have gone through contract document. They have reviewed it well, and what schedule they have submitted along with execution statement. Execution statement that we submit means how shall we execute this job, means we should know at least what job is, how it should be done, and if our submission agrees with that, it defines that. In explanations, in speaking mode, That bit can be called technical bid, successful technical bid, and then goes to, if we go commerce. So workforce is that competency is required, competency at every level, competency on supervising staff, competency on in middle way you may call it, where both field work and office works are done. So workforce is that element which is very significant, without which we can't even operate our machines or equipment. We cannot simply call, I have equipment, I can do this job. Equipment is, you can say, support, but human resources has to improve, because human or operators only work on those equipment or on tools, and they have to follow. So that's what workforce is. And work means every work is done by workforce, otherwise it can't be done. And we can say, now we go to daily progress report and other parts which are of course very important. Now work is done every day, progress report. Now this is a regular document. This document is recorded every day from start of shift to end of shift. Shift, I mean to say working day, we call it shift. Or some call up to lunchtime one shift and then second shift. Well, it doesn't matter. For me, whole day is a shift. It may be 10 hours or 12 hours or 8 hours, whatever agreed. What happened on site? What happens on site every time, every day, it should be on record. It's not difficult. We are not saying you measure everything on site, but at least what happens on site, those incidents, should be somewhere on record. It's not video picture required, just few points. Means which date it is, right? And which, how many days have passed away or gone. Can say, you can just write that. Today is this day of contract, and how many days are left. This is clear when date of completion, agreed completion is mentioned. They say so many days are left or so many days have been over. Every person knows, means what to do. It's very easy once you start that. Means just you have to reduce one day every day, and that's all, nothing else. Well, date is already there, you can know otherwise also if you can't calculate that. Though you are an engineer, you should know. But it's not for you to know, it's for those who are going to read your report. For that it is important, for that purpose. So daily progress report can say name of job and this data is told, and you can say what is, you may say, we can say this way, otherwise what is plan for future. We can start with that after name of work. Or we can say what activities conducted today. We can start, means there is no hard and fast rule for that. You can devise your own way with the engineer's agreement, what engineer wants. And these activities are ongoing, you can say. All these activities have been completed. We have to define those activities. I mean indicatively, this is not a total definition. And what we are going to do today, what was done yesterday, what materials that arrived today, and you can say who arrived on site, what activities are going, what shall happen tomorrow, what activities are planned, weather conditions you can write, temperatures, morning, evening, relative humidity you can write, and you can write which machines arrive on site, which machine left site with permission, without permission, and means whatever is practically possible, which inspections are conducted. Those inspections are conducted on different forms. There was a time when we used to conduct on site report itself, but now time has changed and documentation is more important. Likewise, what happened if there's some accident, there's some mishap, you have to record that also. On whatever happens, means for example, what you can say, specific material arrives on site, long-term, expensive material, you have to refer to that one. You also refer to general materials like reinforcement is coming, structural steel is coming, delivered. And likewise, you can say there is no specific description of any daily progress report. It tells the status of site. Means person who reads this should be clear about what is happening on site, what happens on site. And when every day these reports come, they generally remember what was yesterday, what today is, and at one time you can say it becomes a formal approach. Though it should not be formal, it should be serious, because we record for future. If there is some investigation conducted in future for anything, they may refer to daily progress report because it is practical record, it is factual record, whatever it is. So that can be referred to, though it generally doesn't happen, but if it happens, or we can use that report for our claims or for something, it works. Means we forget to record something, but when you write somewhere in diary something, it can be referred to, maybe 1 year back, 2 year back, you can refer to. So daily progress report is that it is prepared and its copies, it's originally submitted to engineer for record, and also copies are sent to your offices or whatever your protocol states, you will comply with that. So it becomes a formal project execution record. There is no hard and fast status for this. You can also write certain specific points if you can, or you can also write some problem if that appears and it's not resolved in. So daily progress report depends on what is requirement and how what engineer seeks information for and what contractor gives to engineer that information. Then we can say this is one part. We jump onto memos to contractor, memorandums to contractor. What is that? Then there's a memorandum, then technical clarification, then engineering clarification, contractual clarifications likewise. So memo, these are telling all these are linked together. Memos are linked to technical clarification, this is linked to engineering clarification, and these are all in contract. So we have to consider this in that umbrella aspect. Memo is very lowest profile, you can say. Memorandum means you have to remember what I am saying. Don't forget it. That's why it's given in documentary form. It's given in memo form, but this is only indicative without any contractual or legal backing, because it's a part of procedures, administrative procedures, you can say, or technical procedure. Though it's not technical, it's directive. So it's administrative, in which letter can be addressed to contractor by engineer or engineering staff, resident engineer, on whatever issue is concerned, whatever topic is concerned, whatever problem is concerned. Memo can be issued to contractor for raising some questions or giving some instructions as well. That's very ordinary one, and there can be hundreds and thousands of memos on project records, and every is just indicative. It's helpful contractually. It can refer to you what happened in those days on that date. So it's very normal, and if you can reply to this, if you think reply is necessary, you can reply that, or even engineer can ask, reply on this point, why did you not do it? And if there are disputes, which can also be recorded on such progress report. And this is indicative record, but informative. Who visited site is also important. People come to site and we forget, but when it's on record that this visitor came, or this external visitor came, this internal visitor came, or this company people came, contractors people or engineers people came, those hints can be recorded just for informative purpose. Temperatures are recorded for concrete purpose, for some other purpose, and concrete is very important item on every project. It's very expensive item as well, but without this nothing can be done. Now technical clarification is very important part. Technical clarification, after all, Technical clarification means something we are not able to understand from these drawings or from specifications. I'm not able to understand something, what to do? So my duty is, once I unearth something from technical point of view, we have to seek clarification for. Our engineer has to clarify itself on its own that you are doing this work, think of this and think of that, or some other indications about specifications, or you can say whatever related to that matter. You can seek technical clarification, or you can seek anything, or you can write in technical clarification form. Generally we call it site technical query. When some answer is not available in real, there may be few drawings linked to some item, there may be some specifications linked, or something is written on drawings or something written somewhere else. It restricts us from that. So we have to understand that point as well, means what we have to think about that. So that is what we call it, technical clarification. We can write references of drawings, references of documents. If there are clashes, we can write that. So we can say that is technical clarification when answer is given by engineer or resident engineer, though it's the engineer's responsibility, but generally resident engineers do it, and whatever it can be, it's not one technical, there can be hundreds and hundreds of technical clarifications required, or site technical queries are required, or you can say technical clarifications are required. It's very important, and those answers are given on those forms itself, technical query forms. Answer comes either you do like this or we agreed like this, means whatever means your question is clarified, it has to be clarified. If it's not clarified, means there's some problem, you can't do that. So you have to follow up also practically, because it takes time in communication. So you can get that done yourself after asking them or discussing when, and they may say, no, you also detail out this and you'll approve. That can be followed up. So technical clarification is very important. It plays very important role on construction projects. Engineering clarification is higher than technical clarification, because technical clarification is very specific on some point, but engineering clarification is a part of policy, design policy, and engineering qualification is something very different from technical clarification. Here's a question of so many other issues also. Law is also involved in engineering qualification, because there are so many criteria considered for employing people, but only criteria here is that they don't employ more people on houses, but on offices. They work from there, they get their salaries. We can say engineering clarification is something that deals with design issues, that deals with technical policy issues, and that deal with something which is higher than expected. So engineering clarification is also made in a similar way, but it is not simply that you just talk together and write meeting right now. It can't be done that way. It should be properly questioned and it should be explained properly. So whoever does it have benefit of working with that. So technical clarification and engineering clarifications are different, but sense is same. Technical clarification based on documents, and if there expect some errors or something in documents and some information, then reasons in engineering can be raised, because it is engineering project. It's based on engineering. It's not my brick or your brick. It's different one. That point also we must understand. Difference between technical clarification and engineering clarifications. And then contractual clarification. These three clarifications are grouped here. Contractual clarification. That's also a very important point. After all, we deal with contractors on contracting projects. It's contractorship that we deal with. Contractual clarification, after all, There can be conflicting reading, there can be conflicting values, conflicting statements in contract documents itself, or someone is unable to understand, unable to link various conditions or various drawings. Likewise, that that limits to contracts, that related to contract. And if that is a question, that's a problem, it should be resolved only by documents presence, by documents information. And if that information is not available, then you can add fresh something, say ginger into your problem. Likewise, contractual clarification is very important because of contract. Sometimes, clarification is given because we cannot repeal conditions already agreed, but interpretation can be done, can be achieved. That you this means is that if something is not clear, it can be asked for clarification, and clarification is given, closing that question. Though there is no specific argument on that can be made, because it is conditions, whatever clarification you wanted should be before submission of tender or bid. But here means just to help contract run. It's very rare actually. Contractual clarification is very rare. It is work clarification, technical clarification works. Engineering clarification works. A lot of questions are raised, a lot of issues, memos are issued, or forms are submitted. Generally we call them STQ form, site technical query, or EQ, engineering technical query, ETQ, site technical query, site TU, STU. It depends on how we get clarification as many possible from our people. A contractor seeks from engineers, and engineer responds on those and provide answers. We have to go to from contractual clarification to subcontractors. Contractors and subcontractors are linked together, because it's not necessary that contractors shall have all divisions. Some have, some don't have. Those who have to move traffic on that. If you cast subcontractor, what is subcontractor? That term you understand well. Need not define, but those who don't understand, some inputs must be given to them. You have understood what is contract. Contract means a person or a party who agrees, who offers to do a project for work amount. From, a work is given. Of course, with engineer's permission, you cannot do otherwise. That I take this contract and give to someone else. That's not permissible. Why do you take then? Question arises. It's therefore subcontractor comes into picture. Why that contractor comes into picture? That our main or prime contractor does not have enough infrastructure for those items in other subjects. You can say subcontractor means a part of contractor, where subcontractor is specialized and contractor is not specialized. The contractor is big one, is big size, big organizations. Of course, they are manufacturing faults. So it's very important point. You can say subcontract, contractor sublets part of work to expert party, of course with prior approval of contractor, prior approval of engineer, approved by engineer to contractor for subcontract. Subcontract is actually a contractor also for contractual work, and it becomes a part of organization, part of system that we build. Subcontractor are experts people, electrical subcontractor, HVAC subcontractor, lift subcontractor, or whatever else equipment is we run, that's subcontractor. All these are very important one. So we can say contractual subcontracts is indispensable in big projects because they are well established and they know so much for project. They just want to tell me, I will write that, don't insist like that. And I think I was not that much inclined to that, but subcontracting is important. If I don't have good subcontractor, that activity my people may not know and subcontractors can understand and they work accordingly, particularly on concrete pour. It's very important. But subcontractor can do that also if you wish, not necessary. Concrete is a very responsible item, we should think of ourselves and do that. Then we can say nominated contractors. What is that? Nominated contractors. Subcontractor is general term, very general term. What is nominated contractor? Maybe there is some provisional item in your BOQ that is meant for nominated subcontractor, and that nominated means nominated either by owner or by engineer when some work is done to take care of all works in future. So we can understand that way. Some item price is fixed and that is meant for someone else and that person is appointed by owner or by engineer that this item should be done by that person and it is done in same way as if it is ordered by contractor for that party, for that with the party which engineer proposes or employer proposes for that activity, and we can say that amount is fixed and that amount is only meant for that party which is going to come on this project. That's called nominated contractor, not competition contractor. And then we can say site instruction. In addition, site memos is very important part for understanding what is site instruction and what is site memo. We have to take that responsibility ourselves. We have to understand difference because site memo is ordinary letter about general instructions, about noting, about saying something about site. Site is not tidy, for example, about safety letter comes. Site is not tidy, site is not well sorted, take care of this. Same way quality letters comes, quality letters also come. This is not appropriate, this is not appropriate, this is not sleepy, this is not this is not that. So much is right. These points we have to understand very well. Nominated contractor, site instruction. Site instruction means instruction by resident engineer on behalf of engineer. What contract has to do? What contract has to do? This should be clearly given. So we go to that level, that is site instruction level. We get any instruction from engineer, whatever instruction we get, we have to implement that. Any kind of instruction, whatever instruction regarding work or regarding safety, regarding quality, and whatever else, engineer has right through resident engineer or directly to instruct something about works, something about supervision, something about whatever else, and engineer makes it for it or even can be requested to make it by its supports, by its staff. and that memo or that instruction, particular instruction comes to contractor, you have to do like this, or you do this job this way, you miss that one, or here you do this. And then it's a duty of contractor to do that, and if it's not given in contract documents or in designs, in that case we have to find a route ourselves. Nobody gives us any route. In that instruction, one has to read a site agent or contractor's representative, and if that thinks no, it's not part of my contract, it's not our scope, we should be paid for this more, then response can be made to engineer about this issue, that it is a requirement or not a requirement. If contractor considers that this instruction impacts on cost, then response can be given that this is cost impacting reason, I did not try it, but it doesn't work for me, and I'm not going to do this until it's clarified and paid for. That we can say can be done on engineer's instruction, site instruction, and even after that, if engineer thinks no, it has to be done, and also if engineer is convinced that this is not part of contract, then that part can be added to contract by engineer or by owner, by both. If it is not new, it is just absence of some information, so you can say that it can be done. Instruction can be constituted, it can be priced with, and you can submit price of that, but work can't stop if it's required. Or maybe if engineers things will do later on, they can think for later on, but they must approve price first. And if that is not submitted, that item is not qualified one, there can't be proper indication. Really interesting one. If I write as contractor that this instruction constitutes cost and price fair, then you can say it's a kind of blueprint we have to understand. You cannot say that I was not instructed, I didn't know. So that's what is in site instruction. And if there is a cost impact, there is a cost variation, an engineer has to define that indicatively on cost variation, that we agree or not. Of course, engineer has to discuss with the owner and make a decision. If no decision comes, then you cannot include that item. If that, you can say normal engine is added to that, you can say that site instruction is to be implemented, and then engineers gives another instruction, and that's called engineer's instruction, which is legal one, which constitutes price, a specific price for that work, that requirement, and that is legally valid. Engineer's instruction, it is authenticated by engineer. So site instruction conversion to engineer's instruction is this way. Instruction in both site instruction, engineer's instruction, there are so many on every project. It's nothing new, because there are so many changes every time, and you have to keep up these records. They are very important. So that's part of site engineer's instruction and engineer's instruction. Means engineer's instruction is, can say it allows in itself acceptance of item and cost of that item. Then we go to inspection general items. What is inspection? How we do that? It's also a very important one. You can say Request for inspection, general items, and request for inspection, concrete pours. Both are important for everything. This cannot be taken for granted because work is involved. Inspection is done for work, not for walking or not for wasting time. Inspections are very important. We have to keep in mind, or we can face problems. That's also true. What is inspection? It's a quality issue, quality procedure. Quality procedure is inspection of work done or inspection of arrived items which shall be included in work. Inspection is for, let us say we start some site, it's for survey, we are going to do survey, we have some line work, we have to start that one, mobilization work. It's not simply that you start your contract job, you can't start contract work until mobilization is over. So we can say instructions and inspections are related. Inspection of survey, inspection for excavation, inspection for soil investigation, inspections for bearing capacity ascertainment, or you can say whatever else, whatever activity is conducted on site that must be inspected, formally or informally both. If it's required to be examined for whole BOQ, whole day, then that also true. It's also true, you can say. Inspections are conducted for all items and all items. No one can go without that. Every item must be inspected. If it's going to be concealed, it can't be measured. Generally, it is quality criteria that is inspected, and measurement can also be done if it's required, but in this case measurement is not done because it's already in item quantity, but only is whether or not that activity complies with requirements of specifications and contract. That is to be made sure by inspectors or clerk of works or whosoever is responsible for that activity. That is called inspection in general state of contract. So once inspection is done for general items, a form is filled, or a form is filled before inspection is done. That should say what's this project, what's the location of inspection, what's the student class, and how many. Then we go to inspections of concrete items. Inspections of concrete items. Zero. Surprising it is, let me say, let me think it comes back or video is going to close. Can't say anything. So concrete pour, as I said, is very specific item which is permanent work and which cannot be redone, which cannot be taken out except by demolition. So concrete pour, some signals are back. If concrete pour is to be done, it is to be done according to drawings, according to sections, according to all requirements that are to be prescribed on inspection form. What conditions are going to be met is also described. We have to keep this point in mind that concrete is very expensive, not only price wise but time wise also. We cannot waste time for concrete because time is of essence in us. Concrete is very expensive item and it's not available everywhere in darkness. Now concrete means what? Concrete is not done blindly. You have to do a lot of work. You have to do supporting system arrangement. You have to do layout. You have to do form work. You have to do steel fixing. All these activities are called preparatory works or temporary works, both depending on what it is. Temporary work, for example, it is supporting system which can be temporary, scaffolding you can call it, or you can call it support to its system. When supporting work is done, whatever work we have to do, that must be done. Otherwise, it shall be difficult to do that, because both contractors representative and an engineer's representative have to refer to drawings, to specifications. They may have many inspections same day. So every inspection requires study. And it is better in interest of work that on requisition when you send to an engineer's representative or engineer, it must be supported by information so that at least that engineer's representative can save time, and that's called attachments. Everything cannot be checked by internet also, so we can say face to face when we discuss. It takes time, it takes information, and that person to whom you send this, it may take 24 hours to let it start. That's why it's called concrete pour. Considered. Generally, concrete is done in night time because of many temperature reasons, or you can say control reasons. Movement of traffic, transit mixers, pump also requires access to various locations. Signals are zero and problem forming again and again. What to do? No answer. Though it's been working, it's about around 2 hours, just 2 or 3 minutes left. But signals are dropping and rising, dropping and rising. It's giving me trouble. I feel a little sorry for this, but without sorry saying. So you know what's pour? It's not simply pour, inspection, it's pour also. Because means when you are inspecting, immediately after inspection is approved, I mean to say support system, form work, reinforcing bars, electrical work, HVAC blockouts, or whatever else is required to be incorporated into that portion of concrete must be made available for garlanding. Or that must be ready, order must be cleared. And I sometimes used to talk to these people who deliver this sites. Better to have a chat with them, what slump we need here, what temperature we need here, and that's all convincing for purpose of approvals. That purpose, that contractor's engineer should know more. That's the important part, because you have to find time for supervision when this concrete is done. We have to take samples on site, temperatures on site, and whatever is given, we have to take that. And of course, with this point is very, very powerful. You may have to supervise yourself or somebody else would come, because it's a question of many, many hours pouring. And sometimes 4 or 5 hours are very minimum, but it may take 12 hours, 20 hours, depending on size, depending on complication of pouring. And it is called pour inspections. There are so many pour inspections, but quantity is not known to people. They can't calculate it otherwise because of some reasons, some mathematical or problem. We can say, if concrete doesn't meet requirement, preparatory works don't meet requirement, then you cannot accept those works. You can't continue Mudhyoti on a pair. Pour is very difficult actually. Pour is very difficult. If something goes wrong, it's not possible to correct that. Maybe batch supplied is right, but your controls are not right. Controls are not right. And what are those controls? Controls of formwork, controls of reinforcement, controls of services inserts, controls of supports, control of vibration. Every sub-act or sub-operation requires to be continually applied with. It has to work, particularly in concrete. There should be expected no deviations of dimensions and no changes. But I know people do it administratively. But once pour is not complied with, it becomes a big problem. There is no way out. For example, temperature is more than expected. That's not allowed, because it shall result in we can say something which has not been done according to requirement in concrete is very difficult to handle, because it is non-compliance report that will be raised by quality guys. Therefore, inspections and supervision on concrete is very important part. No one can risk concrete defects. Yes, some minor defects, of course, we can say happen, like honeycombing, like some rough surface, which can be chemically treated instantly. I mean to say rarely, not very common, but major defects cannot be treated. For example, inadequate vibration or voids formation, which work against a structural requirement. It happens that this should not occur. And how to do treatment on concrete after laying is over. All these points are considered, and we have to individually consider these points from quality viewpoint because it is concrete. It's very long life concrete, and if it's not due to care, then you can spoil structure itself. Your structure speaks, and you don't speak to structure, you're lost. It's non-compliance now of whatever, non-compliance of general items, non-compliance of concrete items, or non-compliance of whatever else. What is non-compliance? You may ask this question. Non-compliance is very easy to answer. That's something you missed on wall and nothing came. So you can say non-compliance is very dangerous for concrete. For other items like blockwork, brickwork, plastering, other items that can be removed and reconstructed, but concrete removal is not going to happen. They may accept. They can accept anything, but that acceptance is also not acceptable. As contractor, it is the responsibility of contractor, not of engineer. It is responsibility of contractor to do the correct job. Simple. After shift off, who is responsible? Contractor is responsible. Now defect goes in due to some compliance. What you have to do? It's not that non-compliance cannot be understood. It's only carelessness that we are not bothered about. If we are serious, there shall be no non-compliance. If our workers are well trained on job, they should know what is to be done. Where action is required, they should not relax. They should not relax. They should not, be. They should be serious. To keep in mind that specification must be adhered to, must be complied with, and if it is not done, a mistake is caused, and that mistake should be avoided. Non-compliance must be avoided because non-compliance means opening of NCR, or you can say starting with that. So one of these you can say. Then we come to approval request, material approval request and drawings approval request. Material approval request and drawings approval request. Requests are made on forms, submittal forms we call them, material submittal forms or drawing submittal forms. Drawing and portion. What we say approval request. It's beginning of contract. Though I am taking it as part of discussion only. It is conducted at beginning of project. When you start project and during mobilization itself, it's a 1 month generally. It's also a part of mobilization. You take time, you save your time because material placing order is done only after approval is made. And approval is made only after form is submitted. It's only made when you have quotations from vendors, and after getting quotations you have got prices, and those quotations which are received, there must be specifications for those, and comparison is made between requirement specification and material specification that manufacturer provides, and there must be comparison on that, and if there is no difference, it should be said, okay, fine, scrutinized. And same thing happens to machines. We have to select materials if these are listed. It's not that I like it, you do it. And if this is not listed, then we can propose material depending on specification requirement. There is no hard and fast rule, depends on engineer, how engineer has survived. proper, you can say prospers, or think based on quality or based on quantity or based on both. The paper that your requisition paper must tell. It must tell whether this ISO quality is certified or not. That point must be taken care of. Material approval request and drawing approval request. Now we are talking about material approval request, where samples can also be submitted along with formal approval, which code it applies, which item it is, all must be given. Or if it is drawing, which drawing it is, that also must be given. There are two columns, space available in the forum, because we cannot simply say this is item, we approve it. We have to give reference to contract documents or contract requirements for an efficient working of review by engineer or resident engineer. And if these authorities are satisfied, then it's okay, that material is out of list. It can be approved, provided some comments come, of course. But generally, if it's approved, it's within list it is, and there is no issue on specification compliance. And it can be approved. And same way, all materials are listed for approval. Generally, all materials which are parts of items, or even a young boy works, thereby understand what to do. Material approval request is very important because it takes time. If material is imported one, you have to procure it from another country, or it is located within country. Procurement involves that matter. Materials are imported from New York, that still work there. Material is very important issue, first for quotation and then for procurement. Very important issue. We cannot say, we have to quantify that material according to the rate we received, and then we have to see what budget it is and what budget originally it was. So material is approved, and once it is approved only, and that is finally approved, only then you can place order. And if you place order before that, it is your own risk, not procedure risk. And no sensible contractor shall place order without approval of that, or if it is dead sure that approval shall be done. And it's better that comments, whatever are made for approval, it is final one, and that if there is some specific instruction, this is something which has been cautioned for, warned by engineer, that must also be brought to notice of manufacturer, so that manufacturer knows what is happening, what is required, and does material comply with that. Manufacturer can also understand that. So that is called material approval request. Every permanent material must be approved likewise. Though there was time when even temporary materials were also included, because of volume of work, all that which I am talking about is included in other statement, that is method statement would be, or something else like this statement just overloaded over that. So material approval is very important, very serious issue. And of course, drawing approval request. Drawing approval request was very important because drawing approval request. This we are going to talk about here. What is material approval request and drawing approval request? Just give me 5-10 minutes before I think I go up and come back. Just 5 minutes. It will work for me. I'll be back. Hold on, please. I think it will work. Still signals are available. Can read this time. I hope you must have gone through this by now. I'm a little late. No problem, let's continue. So I was talking about material approval requests, which is very important from our viewpoint. Without approvals, we cannot buy materials. That's also true. And it is also true that materials are linked to drawings, and materials cannot be quantified without drawings details. So before material is approved, material can be approved, quantities cannot be approved. So drawing is also very important point. Drawings tell quantity of materials, what are required. So both items are equally important, drawings. So there are drawings which are available according to designs, but some drawings which relate to further development, those drawings which are known as schematic drawings or drawings, project drawings of scheme, those drawings are further used for production of working drawings or shop drawings. Particularly services drawings, electrical services, mechanical services, HVAC services, gas services, lift services, security services, whatever services are linked to these drawings, those drawings in form of shop drawing, fabrication drawing or working drawing must be produced for approval, because without those drawings works cannot be done. So these two inclusions, these two requirements, material approvals and drawings approvals, do amount to essential procedure. This must be completed in required period. But major portion can be completed, sometimes some are left. Major materials are submitted for approval within certain time depending on requirements, and of course quotations are involved. That's very important commercial part. Yet in principle approvals can be taken. Reason being, some orders consume time. Some items are imported one. It takes time for their approvals and procurement. And also some items which are come under category of long lead items. Those items can cause major issues, major problems, and how to handle that engineer must have thought on prior to issuing award letter, prior to considering bid. And if it is required, then at that stage itself owner can process for that if it is such case. And that's what engineer has to think. Here issue is material approval and drawings approval, which must be conducted together so that these both items appear on approval lists. What is the status? We generally call them status. Material status means approval status and delivery status. First requirement is approval, and then requirement will be material orders placement and delivery status. And this is for drawings. What is approved status? These two items are very important points for construction contract at least. And then comes subcontractors approval request, because we have subcontractors who would prepare these drawings as well, these shop drawings, so they must also be approved immediately after work is awarded. And it should go in parallel, though we submit list also at time of bid or package information or execution statement, but now final approval is required. So complete documents, that is called CV of subcontractor or pre-qualification of subcontractor or qualification of contract, that is submitted formally for approval. And for all those subcontractors to whom we employ, if we don't have our own in-house arrangement, then we hire them from market who are well listed, who are approved people, who are recognized, licensed under law, and only tentative approval like situation exists, because those are listed one, they have records, and only point to be seen is what workload they have, do they have required number of staff, can they handle this. That means normal scrutiny is done. Likewise, ultimately responsibility goes to contractor. These are subcontractors for contractors, so contractor is formally responsible for them, though technically subcontractor is scrutinized by engineer, and if required interviews can also be conducted. So these are, you can say, technical comprehensive arrangement. Then we come to working arrangements. What are working arrangements on site? We can say there are many classes of works which we have to conduct on sites, and what are those, how these are done. That is also very important part, and these can be called in different classes like temporary works, preparatory works, permanent works. What is temporary works, what is preparatory works, and what is permanent work, and then what is construction method statements, and the standard working designs or details. And then quality part is quality organization, quality management statements, including checklists and ITPs. So let us concentrate, let us classify, let us debate, or let us understand what is temporary, what is permanent, and in between what is preparatory work. When we say temporary, it's clear meaning that temporary means it is going to be removed. It's going to be removed after some time when purpose is over. Temporary means it's not going to be forever. And without temporary work, no work can be done. That's also true. So let us say any item. Let us say first of all we have to access to that area where work is done. We must reach there. That is first requirement. And if we can't reach there, there is no need. For example, we start work on in foundation even. We have to reach to that foundation, right? After excavation, we have to enter that foundation. How to enter? Some means is required, something is required, whatever is required, that is temporary work, because we have to go to that place, otherwise how can we work? It's just an example. You are on ground, you are at higher level, you are at whatever location on site. Every location you have to go. If it is higher, you have to go higher. Start some preparatory works which are required for permanent work. Preparation can be done if there is a base. If there is no base, no preparation can be done. Signals are 0 again. 0, 0, 0, 0. I am fed up really.